All right, I'm going to need you all to keep the energy up, keep the laughter going for the very funny Harp Athwal. Harp.
Hi, everyone. I'm a little taller, I think. My name is Harp, like the instrument. I live in Brooklyn. I'm a programmer. I have been estranged from my family since college, and for some odd reason, I own a Toyota Tacoma pickup truck in New York City. They say not having access to fatherly advice makes a young man vulnerable, especially to car dealerships. So I went to this Toyota dealership. There was a very confident dealer there. The man said to me, "Young man, a Toyota Tacoma is a very rugged vehicle. It's the last vehicle you ever need to purchase." He quoted Joe Rogan. He said, "Toyota's aim is to build a vehicle that will last 30 years in a third world country." Then he paused a bit. He looked at my face and realized it wasn't sold. So he added, "You know, they are the vehicle of choice for ISIS." What can I say? Honestly, I had the same reaction, but the man saw straight through me. He knew exactly what I was looking for. I did not know what I was doing, and I just wanted a good story. So I purchased the vehicle. The very next day, I remembered I live in a first world country, and now I have to figure out how to park a big bucket truck in Brooklyn every day. Every morning, I have to move that car, and I play a fun little game called, "Am I accidentally kidnapping a homeless man?" It's realistic, but I'm just joking. I actually can identify the sound and the feel, and I even gave it a name. It's called the Harlem Shake. So, my parents are typical Indian immigrants, except there's a little bit of a difference. They had a hard time adjusting when they came to this country, and they converted to a very devout form of evangelical Christian, and they raised me to be a preacher. Very strange upbringing, very cool. I was probably the only Indian kid in all of New Jersey who devastated his parents by saying, "I got into Cornell." So I forsook my inheritance of being a preacher. And they weren't upset that it was a safety school. I just want to hammer that point. And now you find me here. I'm trying to figure out what to do with that preacher energy. I used to give sermons. I used to go door to door. And I figured there's two paths. Either I become a newsman or a comedian. But the news is just too strange for me. It's way too serious, and I'm not a serious guy. Like most people, their relationship with the news, I think, is like family dinner. You turn on the evening news after a long, hard day of work, you're eating food with your family, and you turn it on and you tune out. For me, I work from home. I don't really fight any battles except for please don't hit the bong before 5 p.m. So when I see horror on the news, I don't really know how to process it. My brain is very weird. I don't want to put that out on TV. Like I was listening to a story about the world's latest famine, and I remember thinking to myself, "God damn, this pizza is fucking delicious." I didn't realize how hungry I was. It's a terrible thought. Definitely don't belong in the news. I think there was something more recent. There's a bunch of stuff going on in the Middle East, as you know, and there's nothing funny about it. Absolutely nothing funny. But when I was watching the news, I could not help but notice that the vehicle of choice was a Toyota Tacoma. But truth be told, I don't think I can afford my car. You know the economy is fucking rough right now. So recently, I went to a sperm bank and tried to take out a loan. The guy behind the counter says he can't help me. He says, "We're not a typical bank, sir. We only handle deposits and withdrawals. You can make a deposit if you like." And I thought, I didn't come here to give you my precious possessions. Turns out taking a withdrawal is no better. It's disgusting, very sticky. I don't know what I was thinking when I went there, but it was something like some 10% down situation, just a little pre-cum, secure the bag. So I went to a diverse high school growing up. There was a big Indian community there, but for some reason, they didn't really accept me. Probably because I was pushing Bibles on their parents on the weekend. So like I had an identity crisis throughout all of high school. Like everything in history class was about the struggles of white people and black people. And when they talked about Asians, it was about railroads. When they talked about Indians, it was definitely not my kind. So I made a mistake early on where I started to call myself a colored. It fit. An army of white female administrators corrected me. They repeatedly told me, "You are not a colored. That's insulting. You are a person of color." And I said, "Thank you for adding color to the situation." So there are a few things I inherited from my father, like nicotine addiction. But I consider myself a poet just like my dad. My dad had cancer, so I'm always afraid that I'm going to get cancer, and I decided, let me mix these energies together. So now every day I write myself a new anti-cancer tip in the form of a poem. Would you like to hear yesterday's? Yesterday I wrote prebiotics and probiotics, a powerful brew. They create postbiotics in the gut, it's true. Nature's cure in every bite imbued, cancer is thwarted, health renewed. It's actually a good piece of advice. Eat a lot of yogurt. It's a great tip, true fact, fun poem. Poetry has no rules. But today I was struggling for the poem. It was raining for the seventh weekend in a row. And I decided, let me be a little bit more serious. So I adopted the style of Ernest Hemingway. And here's how the poem goes. Stop smoking. So Hemingway was a master of minimalism, and probably don't need to explain that at the end if I really learn the lesson. I think polls are bullshit, more bullshit than people realize. They really should have follow-up questions. The New York Times actually ran a poll a few years ago, and they polled a few thousand Americans, and a slim majority said very clearly that they would kill baby Hitler. When asked would they prefer a blunt or a sharp instrument as a follow-up to murder a defenseless baby, most Americans admitted they did not think that far. Thank you.
Harp Athwal, everybody.